Good evening, dear friends. Good evening. And it's time for Beyond the Pain live video. Purpose Beyond the Pain. Okay. Let's just get ready, invite one another. Good evening. Welcome to Beyond the Pain live video. Welcome. We come here on Thursday evenings, on Tuesday evenings, hallelujah, Tuesday evenings to encourage one another, inspire one another to go beyond our painful experiences and discover purpose. And today we're going to continue on the theme that we started at the beginning of this month, harnessing the power of pain. Good evening and welcome. Let's just make sure that all our lines are active and all our channels are active. And I'll give a moment for our friends to join us here on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm just trying to ensure that that is happening. Okay, while you're here, let me know where you're joining us from tonight. Where are you joining us from? Oh, it's just write it out in the comments and let me know where you are calling from tonight. It's always a joy to have people here from different places. Good evening, welcome. Good evening, welcome. I can see everything turning around, everything turning around, everything turning around for good. That's really the song that's on my heart today as we prepare for our time together. Just reframing our thoughts from Uganda. Welcome from Uganda. Learning to reframe our thoughts, our adversity, our painful experiences. That's what we've been teaching at Purpose Beyond the Pain, so that we can reframe what happened to us in a way that it can take the sting out of the pain and it can deliver purpose to us. So today, in continuation of the theme that we started, harnessing the power of pain, we're going to be talking about reframing adversity as purposeful. And that was where you heard me humming that song. I can see everything turning around, everything turning around, everything turning around for my good. And it's a way to look at life. It's a way to experience our circumstances, to see, to have a vision of things turning around, to begin to make meaning from our adversity. Last week, we were talking about meaning making. And before I do a recap on that, I want to again welcome every one of you joining us from different countries around the world this evening. Good evening, and welcome again to Purpose Beyond the Pain. This is the Beyond the Pain live video. My name is Dr. Irene Olumise. I am your trauma and transformational coach. I do in this space is to help my friends to walk through their life challenges and to discover purpose beyond the pain. And it doesn't matter what your own painful experience may have been. You may be reeling from the pain of losses. And this week I've had to sit with people who have experienced significant losses in different spheres of their lives. Loss of a loved one, loss of limbs. I mean, today alone, I spoke with over 10 women who have experienced loss of limbs. I'm a bilateral amputee. I lost both limbs almost 13 years ago. And I know what pain comes with losing your limbs and the change, the change in your body image and how that can impact you emotionally. I've had reasons in the past weeks to go to be with people who have lost precious loved ones. I've lost someone close to me this year already. And so we all we may be going through one painful experience or the other. And you may be joining me right now, reeling from that painful loss. It could be the pain of betrayal. It could be the pain of disappointment. It could be pain of dream that seems so long coming to be. Whatever your own experience of pain may be, what if we look at it as this is not a prison? This is not going to, enslave me. It's not going to put me in an enclosure. It's not going to entangle me, but it's going to be a canvas. I'm going to see this painful experience as a canvas that I will paint something beautiful on. Out of this painful experience, something meaningful is going to come. And this is the undercurrent of reframing our adversity as purposeful. It is a blank canvas. It is painful. It hurts. I mean, the sting of the pain goes really deep. But within this experience, there is a possibility of creating something beautiful out of it. And you see, that's why we, in this space, I blend biblical wisdom with psychology. So my work here is both biblical and psychological. That's why I am a faith-informed transformational coach, trauma and transformational coach. Because what I see is that both Bible and psychology, and psychology just confirms what the Bible has told us already. Science confirms what the Bible has already told us, is that attributing creative power, a creative value to our painful experiences redefines it. Attributing a creative and a purposeful value to that hurts us, that thing that happens to us that hurts us deeply, it redefines it. It unleashes the power that you never know that it carries, so that you can harness that power and transform it. And this is what I want to share with you in a few minutes together this evening. Like I said, last week we talked about making meaning, the power of harnessing the power of pain through meaning making. You see, we agree that pain has a transformative force. It changes us. And more often than not, it pushes out of us latent gifting, latent talents that we didn't even know existed, latent capacity that we didn't know we have within us. It squeezes it out of us, the pressure of pain, and in such a way that it turns us into who we are created to be. And so profound transformation can happen. We can experience profound transformation when we embrace that which has come to break us. For as long as we are still standing and we have breath, I always say, for as long as I'm living, there is a purpose for my life. When there is a will, there is a way. There is hope for me, for as long as I still have breath in me, that I can transform my pain into something meaningful. And so when painful experiences shatter the core of our being, when it shakes us, our world on its axis, we want to be assured that healing is possible. And that is always my message in this space, that healing is possible. And as we heal, we can also experience a growth beyond that experience. We can experience a growth. We call it post-traumatic growth. But the only way we can have post-traumatic growth is when we deliberately make meaning of what has happened to us. And we reframe it, with faith, with an understanding there is always a greater purpose. There is always a greater picture, a bigger picture to whatever we go through. We only see in part, but there is something bigger, something greater beyond our painful experiences. One thing that I have learned about pain is that it has the power to humble you. Mhm. It will humble you, but it also has the power to purify you. I see my painful experiences as something that has come to refine me. It is going through the furnace of, affliction for me has become a transformative process, a refining process. And I always say that it's like you put gold in the furnace. The gold in furnace comes out purified. And so when I go through life challenges, it's to me, I'm going through a purification, a refining process, and a better version of me is going to emerge. And you see, with this kind of mindset, it helps us to, not to wallow in that painful experience, not to stay there as a victim. It helps us to look beyond that trauma, that thing that has hurt you deeply, that thing that has happened to you, that is, broken you in the core of your being. You begin to look beyond it and see something new emerging from it. Whatever your own story of pain may be, heartbreak, disappointment, losses, betrayal, unmet dreams, rejection, abandonment, one thing that I can tell you is that all of us, every single one of us, carry wounds that can shape us. It can shape the way we see ourselves. It can shape the way we see others. It can even shape the way we see God, how we relate with God ultimately. But the truth is that when we surrender our wounds to God, it turns them to weapons of strength. When we surrender our pain to God and go through that emotional healing that is possible for you and I, we can transform our adversity into advantage, transform our pain to purpose. I actually believe that we can transform pain to purpose, to profit, and to power. Something that strengthens you. What did not kill you must not bury you. It has come to strengthen you. The beautiful truth here, and if you followed me for any length of time, you will know that this is something that I say quite often, that God never wastes our pains. He doesn't waste our tears. We are the only one who can waste our pain if we do not ascribe meaning to it, if we do not go beyond that pain, if we do not transform that pain into something that is meaningful, something that is significant, something that can emerge, something beautiful that can emerge from the canvas that I mentioned earlier. You see, our pain would be in vain if we do not transform it into a gain for others. We need to make it something that is beyond us. We need to make it something that is beyond us. Let me give you an example of what I mean by giving it a meaning that is beyond us. You see, when my daughter returned back as a stillbirth, I was pregnant for 32 weeks, and I lost that pregnancy as a stillbirth. And it was a girl. So my daughter was actually, she would have been 33 this year. If she was alive, she would have been 33 this year. And the pain of losing her was intense. But you see, I learned in that process that something can come out of this. Something can come out of this. And how did I get to that point? There was a scripture that dropped in my heart that God comforts us in all our afflictions. With the same comfort, we will comfort others. And I knew that if I took comfort from the pain of the loss of my daughter, I will be in that position to be able to comfort others. In that moment, it didn't make any sense to me. Because, how do you make sense of the pregnancy loss? How do you make sense of the loss of a child? How do you make sense of any loss whatsoever? We listen to loss a member of the family, and it's how do we make sense of somebody passing away at their prime of age, prime of life? But you see, here is the thing. As devastating as our pain may be, the loss of a pregnancy of a child, or whatever loss that we have experienced, as devastating as it may be, the truth that I have learned is that something good can still come out of it. And you ask me, what good came out of the loss of your daughter? Well, I gained comfort. I learned lessons through it, how to heal from, the loss of a child. I learned lessons in my grieving moments. And that lesson now became resources that I have been using since then to support other women who have had pregnancy loss, other parents who have lost a child. And so every time I think about my daughter, I never got to see her. I never got to hold her. I never held her. But my husband did hold her. But I never forgot the 32 weeks that I carried her, the relationship that I built with her in those 32 weeks. It's been 33 years. I still remember carrying her for those 32 weeks. And I still share her story to encourage other women that you will heal. It may not make sense right now, but you will heal. And I have ascribed new meaning to that loss as one that has positioned me to be able to support other people. And so, yes, something good has come out of it. I have found purpose in that pain of the loss of my daughter. I have experienced all the losses. I told you that I'm a bilateral amputee. I lost both legs 13 years ago. And how can you even make sense of that? Losing both legs at an age when I needed everything to continue to in the pursuit of my dreams. But I'm here today. I'm still doing things that I've been inspired to do despite the loss of my legs. I learned to give the loss of my limbs a new purpose, a purpose that became a foundation that is providing prosthetic limbs for amputees in 2 countries now, in Nigeria and in Uganda. And we were compiling the names of all the people that have received limbs, all the women and the children that have received limbs from the foundation. And I'm amazed how many people have benefited from the loss of my 2 limbs. And so, yes, purpose can come from something very painful if we choose to reframe it. And that's what this is all about. Our painful experiences may in the moment feel so dark. It feels like the tunnel we are going through at the moment, The darkness is so intense you cannot see any purpose. But let me assure you that God is in the business of rebuilding broken lives. When we hand over our wounds, that pain to Him, He can transform it into something of eternal value. It takes all our broken pieces and it creates a mosaic of healing in it. It creates a mosaic of hope from it. It creates a mosaic of impact from it. I have mentioned 2 of my losses, and I can see that what those broken pieces of my life have produced. Today, I see what the broken pieces of my life, coming from the base of pain, painful losses, have produced. And when I look at the beauty that they have produced, it gives meaning to my pain. And I believe that the same can happen to you. Because here is this thing, the truth. Your story matters. Your story matters. Even if you have gone through that pain, it will be a double tragedy to waste it and not let it become something that will be meaningful, that will be impactful, that will bring hope to others. Your story matters, not in spite of the pain, but because of the pain. Your story matters. And you can transform that story of pain into a story that brings hope to others. And it will be gratifying for you. I mean, the joy that I get seeing what my pain has produced for others, I don't have words to express it. It means that my pain has not been purposeless. My pain is not in vain. And I know that yours too does not need to be purposeless. If you reframe your painful experience, you can ascribe new meaning to it and make it purposeful and impactful. You see, the reason why we must do this is the fact that traumatic experiences, they leave more than scars on us. Those things that break us, they leave more than scars. I have scars on my body. I have surgical lines all over. But there is much more to the traumatic experience. It imprints itself in a nervous system. It begins to shape the way we respond to the world, the way we see the world around about us. And you see, those painful experiences can continue to echo in our minds much long after the moment that it happened to us. Sometimes we are haunted by the memories of what happened to us. We call them intrusive thoughts. And those, they become like autoplay, repeating itself in our minds. They keep coming over and they can keep us trapped, in a pattern of anxiety, in a pattern of emotional shutdown. But you see, the way out, the way forward, is not just only by finding a relief from the symptoms because you're only dealing with the symptoms. It is by discovering purpose and meaning from the things that we have endured. And that's why we must reframe our adversity as purposeful. One of the tools that I really love using as a trauma transformational coach is narrative therapy. I really love narrative therapy because what narrative therapy does is that it encourages us to reframe our story of trauma, to reframe our story of pain, highlighting the values that we are bringing out of it, the lessons that we are learning from it, the strengths that we are gaining from it, so that we become our authentic self. Reframing our trauma, reframing our pain, in a way that we can bring out lessons, in a way that we can bring out strength, and a way that we can bring out values that reveals, the genuineness of who we are as individuals. And so reframing adversity as purposeful helps us to unlock that transformative power, that potential creative power that is in the pain. It helps us to turn raw suffering into deliberate acts of creation. The loss of my legs would have been, if I just allowed it to stay like that, would have been raw suffering. If I just stay in that position that I lost my legs, why should I? Both legs. Or I stay in the position of I lost my baby, why should I? But you see, what has happened is to transform it to create something new. And it's informed the work that I do today. Not only do I have a charity foundation that is supporting other women that have lost their legs, I'm here as a trauma and transformational coach. And that was birthed from my pain. Because I know what it is like to go through such losses. And I want others to know that healing is possible. That pain can deliver something beautiful if we process it. If we see it as a refining process, it purifies us and produces something incredibly amazing out of our story. And we've seen this happening in different ways. We have many examples. But one thing that I want to highlight is that the more we learn to reframe our adversity as purposeful, the less victim mentality we display. We turn from being victims, from passive endurance, to people who actually intentionally create something meaningful from their own experience, create something impactful, create a legacy from what happened to them. And there's so many examples in the world today. Last week I shared the story of Johnny Erickson Tada, from her own pain of becoming a quadriplegic at the tender age of a teenager, to a ministry that is helping thousands of people today, to the books that she has written. Nick Vujicic is the same thing. And there's so many people like that who have birthed something creative out of their experiences. You and I can do the same. It is about reframing our experiences, our traumatic experiences, and giving it new meaning and using it to create something new. God does not waste our pains. He does not waste our experiences. I always remember the story of Joseph. All the betrayal from his brothers, the rejection, the false accusation by Potiphar's wife, the unjust imprisonment, then all added up to produce a man that is strong enough to become a prime minister. a man who is strong, who is resilient, who has faced adversity with fortitude. All those experiences, they added up and produced a prime minister. You see, all the broken pieces of your experiences can come together to create a mosaic of feeling, of hope, of encouragement for others. And I'm happy that we have a biblical promise to anchor such hope on, that God works all things together for good. We may not know how, but our submission to God's sovereignty helps us to give a new meaning to our experiences and not to see it as the final chapter of the story of our lives. And to see adversity as a process that's going to produce a result at the end of the day, a result that will impact other people's lives and ultimately bring glory to God. Let me tell you, this is not blind faith. This is something that is so fundamental, that has shaped the way I think, the way I see my life, the way I see my experiences. Reframing it with an expectation that it will birth something meaningful. So rather than slide down the precipice of despair, I tap into the grace that is possible, that is available. I use that setback, that traumatic experience, that hurtful moment of my life as a springboard to something that takes me to a new level. Yeah. It should deliver something to me. I mentioned in one of our series, I think it was last year, that when we face challenges and adversity, we need to step back and pause and say, what has this experience come to teach me? What can this experience deliver to me? What can I take out of this experience into the future? Something that is positive, something that is meaningful, something that is significant, that I can take out of this experience into the future. Because if I'm going to go through this pain, then I must take something out of it, because I will not waste my life, I will not waste my pain. So it must deliver something significant that can go with me into the future and make me a better version of who I am. And I just don't want to have become resilient, but I want to go beyond resilient to a better version, to have stepped higher, whether in maturity, whether in emotional stability, and to become a stronger version of me. My dear friends, suffering has no meaning except we make a meaning out of it. Our pain can be so devastating that if we let it be, it's a waste of everything that it has taken out of us. That's why we must reframe it. We must reframe it. You know, I always remember the story at the beginning of creation. In Genesis chapter 1, when the Bible says that the Spirit of God brooded over the waters when it was without form, when it was a soup of nothingness. And that's how chaotic our lives can be. Everything all muddled together, no form. And it's as if everything is gone in disarray. But it said the Spirit of God brooded over it, and God began to call forth. It began to call forth and created life created form out of a soup of nothingness. And that same spirit of God is still active today. And I can invite him into my being and allow him to brood on it and bring out form out of the shapeless, beauty out of ashes, purpose out of pain. You see, when we talk about creating, assigning creative value or having a painful experience become something that has creative value, it's really about channeling that pain, the power of that pain into a productive outcome. It is about taking it and giving it something tangible that it can, that can represent a new thing that it created. Today, one of my own tangibles are the books that I have written, the foundation that I have. They are tangibles. For some people, it could be a work of art. I've seen people who went into artwork from their painful experience. And for some people, it could be service that you render to others, or the work that you do. Today, the work that I do as a trauma and transformational coach is one of the productive output that has creative value from a place of pain. And so when we do this, we are rewiring our neural path from the fixation on the trauma to what that traumatic experience can produce. It helps us to shift the focus from the bitterness that comes with the pain to what can I transform this into. You see, when we redefine our pain, we transform the agony of it into assets. When we reframe our painful experiences, we are literally transforming the agony of that pain into assets that we can use, resources that we can use for something purposeful, something that will impact other people's lives so that it serves a higher purpose than us. My traumatic experiences, my painful experiences must have a purpose that is beyond me. And that could be your own decision too. And it means that you must be willing to heal, to go through that process of emotional healing so that you can learn the skills, the tools that you need to transform your pain and harness the power of pain and receive nuggets out of what has come to break you. So new possibilities, new strengths, new directions can emerge from an event that could have broken you, or maybe has broken you, but you got back up again. So the tragedy is not the fact that life breaks us. The real tragedy is when we remain broken and we do not bring something new out of what happened to us. The real tragedy is when we do not heal and transform that pain into new possibilities. And I'm wondering, my friends, what new possibilities are waiting to be birthed from what happened to you? What new life will what happened to you impact? And if you really want to find out, so you want to walk that journey, my name is Dr. Irene Say. I am a trauma transformational coach. I help people to heal from their painful experiences and to transform their pain to power, to purpose, and to profit. I'm only a DM away. So, how do we do this reframing? We are not denying the pain, get that right. But we are remixing it, it's an alchemy. We are turning it around, giving it a new meaning, a new mix, mix it to produce something new. It's like we're doing chemistry with it. Yeah? This element and this element combine together and produce something new. Your pain plus the knowledge that you're learning, you use it to glean lessons from it. So the first step is to acknowledge the raw pain. Journal it as raw as you want it to be. I've shared this story here before, and I'll just share it again for those who may be coming here for the first time. I went through a season in my life when I was unjust. Oh my goodness, it was so painful because it was unjust. I was unjustly treated. I was a victim of calumny. It was somebody used their words to break, with the intention of breaking me. And it was very painful, and it came from places that I never expected it to come from. And it was so painful that I could actually physically feel the pain. Even though the pain was on the inside, I felt it physically. I reeled on my bed in tears. And then I knew that I needed to heal. I needed to do something, because this pain was so powerful, it was going to consume me. And I did not want the seed of anger, resentment to take root in my heart, because I knew that would delay me, it would hold me back. And so I separated myself and went for a quiet retreat. And it was in that space that I do a lot of writing. Of course, as you know, I'm an author of 2 books, but I do a lot of journaling. And one of the things that I recommend to my clients is also journaling. And so I decided to journal that pain. I poured and poured and poured my pain in all its rawness. But you know what? It was very healing. And that's why today I recommend writing for healing, because I know the healing power of writing, of journaling. I cried out into those words, but I don't think anybody is ever going to read all my writing from that period, because it was for me to heal. So that's something that you can do. Acknowledge the raw pain. Then ask yourself this question: what lessons am I learning from this? What skill can I forge from this? What lesson can I learn from this experience? What skill can I forge from this experience? Who can I serve with this lesson and this skill? What skills can I forge from this experience? What lessons am I learning from this experience? Who can I serve with this? And as you think through, you will be amazed the ideas that will be inspired on the inside of you. And the third step is for you to do something creative with it. Do something that has impact for others. Write your story not in the rawness of the pain, but your redeemed pain, your redeemed experience, your transformed story. You write that and be a blessing to others. You can start, if you're inspired and led, you can use your story to start helping other people who are going through similar experiences. For me, I help people who have lost pregnancies. who had stillbirths. I help people who are amputees. I help people who have suffered painful experiences because I've been in all of that. So who can your story help? Who can you mentor? Who can you walk alongside with? Let something concrete, something tangible come out of that experience. So let me pose these questions again to you for reflection. What is my painful experience teaching me about myself and about others or about life? What is it teaching me? What is it teaching me? What beliefs about my self-worth needs to be re-examined? Am I defined by something that is ephemeral? Am I going to allow this experience to redefine my identity, who I am? And then ask yourself, how can you use this experience for growth, for strength? How can you allow this experience reveal the authentic you that is coming out from the furnace of adversity, the furnace where you have been refined? I really want to encourage you to see your painful experience as something that can refine you, that can purify you, that can teach you something. Because pain truly is a teacher. Pain is a purifier. And pain can pressure us to birth something new and beautiful. You will be amazed what you will create beyond the pain if you give yourself the permission to heal and to grow. So while I was preparing for this time together today, I found a poem that I want to share with you as we wrap up this evening. It was written by Robin Sharma. And there were also some lines there that really stood out for me, and I'm just going to read that. Those lines is a poem for people in pain. We all have hard seasons. We all have hard seasons. Stages where the ground on which we stand seems to crumble. Nothing seems to be in our favor, and the winter is endless. To know pain, to endure suffering, and to feel as though the trial is never ending is being fully human. And to become the most intimate with life itself. But from what I can tell, that which appears to unmake us is the very season that rebuilds us. That which appears to unmake us is the very season that rebuilds us. What a perspective. And he went on to say, our pain, in truth, is a purifier. It becomes a purifier. Difficulty softens us. It unmasks us, and it opens us up, allowing the gifts of wisdom, humility, and patience to become our new way of being. Our pain, in truth, becomes a purifier. Difficulty softens us, unmasks us, allowing the gifts of wisdom, humility, and patience to become our new way of being. My dear friends, our adversity, our traumatic experiences, our painful moments of life, they're not an end in themselves. They're not the end of our story. They're just mere edits. They edit our stories so that it can be crisp, it can be engaging. And that's the perspective I want to encourage you to have to whatever painful experience you may be going through. It's not the final chapter. It is not the end of the story of your life. There are many more chapters of transformation, of redemption that is coming if you heal from this pain and learn to reframe the adversity as purposeful. Reframe as purposeful means that we assign creative value to what happened to us. So let me challenge you this week. Pick one of the painful experiences you may have gone through, one that you have been able to process, and think of one creative thing that you can do with it. Write a story around it. Share the lessons that you have learned from it with someone. Just take one painful experience, something that happened to you, and make up your mind this week that you're going to transform it. You're going to give it a new meaning. You're going to give it a new value. You're going to give it a creative value. And if you wish, you can come back and share it on this page. It will be my joy to read and to encourage you and to inspire you. And I invite you also to share with others. And if you follow us on YouTube, please subscribe. Let's together continue to reframe our adversity and transform our pain to power, to purpose, and to perfect. My dear friends, don't waste your pain. Don't waste that experience. Reframe it. Give it a new meaning. Create something with it. And I hope that this would encourage you tonight to go beyond your painful experiences and find meaning and purpose beyond it. Thank you very much for joining me in this space tonight. I look forward to continuing on this thing next week, Tuesday, by the grace of God. Until then, God keep you till we meet again. Good night and God bless you.